This guy says, this didn't get enough attention. It's a New York Post article. It says, Gaza journalist who wrote for Al Jazeera was holding 3 hostages in home with family, comma, what? Israel says. Yeah, Israel says being the operative word there. Elon Mitzrahi, Netanyahu has cancer, which is funny. How does cancer have cancer? I hope and wish he stays alive till he fulfills his role in this play of insanity and death to bring Zionism and Israel to their final end. Then he can go and will go to eternal damnation. Yeah, that would be a nice send-off. We're going to ask Suleiman about this because he's going to join us in about an hour and a half. Today proves U.S. desperate to negotiate because they are losing. We've been playing a lot of these clips from Randy Fine's podcast appearance on Tim Pool's show. Tim Pool confronts Randy Fine over Trump's collapsing base due to the disastrous Iran war. Randy Fine desperately weaponizes anti-Semitism to deflect, bizarrely claiming Israel never asks Washington to fight its wars, while the Pentagon literally blockades Hormuz for Israel. Let's see.
From CNBC, Trump says Israel-Lebanon ceasefire extended by 3 weeks. Of course, we also have the, I believe it was the interdiction of the of a vessel trying to break the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz. Right now, a big component of politics is specifically about the war with Iran and U.S. involvement with Israel. And so, bring this up. My question for you, with Tucker and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and many formerly big Trump supporters breaking from Trump on principally the issue of Iran, but also the issue of our alliance and support for Israel. You have right now,
which is the same thing, it's the same issue.
The left and elements of the right unified in just hating Israel. I don't know how the Republicans...
There's obviously a causal link between our support for Israel and our, what's the word? We're like a vassal state for Israel. We're like a vassal for Israeli power. And obviously the war in Iran. We support Israel, and the effect of that is that we're now going to war with Iran. It's the same issue.
Party. To be fair, the Democrats are also divided on this as well. The older Democrats are much more pro-Israel. But with Trump losing support for this reason, how do Republicans actually even win with that sentiment in play?
Well, I think it's not that they're unified in hating Israel. I think it's that they're unified in hating Jews.
Oh, my goodness. So he just sidesteps the whole issue. It's nothing to do with anything about geopolitics, nothing to do with supporting a foreign country that has different interests, different aims in a different part of the world. It's not the fact that we are all giving our hard-working money to a foreign country. It's just the fact that we hate the Jays. That's what Randy Fine is trying to get us to believe.
Israel is just the vehicle that they use to do that. Look, Israel is the best ally that we have. Israel's the only country that is out there that doesn't ask us to fight their wars for.
What? This is precisely what they're doing. This is precisely what they ask of us. And then when we do it, they say we're not doing it hard enough. Oh my goodness.
For them. I found it very amusing.
How do you say that with a straight face at this time? It just shows how out of touch you are with the American people and why you don't deserve to be a representative in U.S. Congress.
Rahm Emanuel said we need to treat Israel the same way we treat our allies in Western Europe. We've got bases with tens of thousands of soldiers in the UK and in Germany and in Spain and in all these other, in France and all these countries. We don't have a base. There's a couple hundred American soldiers in Israel that are just there.
Their whole airport right now is a U.S. military base, practically. It's all of our equipment. It's all of our weapons.
To kind of coordinate.
He's a big dumb animal, isn't he, folks? This guy, Mario Nawful, is such an idiot. He always comes up with the most brain-dead takes, and I have to troll him. He says, imagine Lebanon without Hezbollah. Imagine Lebanon without Israeli occupation. Imagine Lebanon without corrupt politicians. I say, imagine Mario with a working frontal lobe. Imagine not conflating settler violence and resistance to settler violence as the same thing. Imagine. Jake Shields brings up a great point. Without Hezbollah, they would have no defense. Actually, without Israeli occupation, there would be no Hezbollah. There's a causal link. Once again, there's that phrase. Israeli occupation leads to resistance. Occupation leads to resistance movements. That's just 1 + 1 = 2. That's basic math. It's not Jewish math, but it is basic logical math. So when you're just saying everything is the same, It's just violence for the sake of violence. That's why Hezbollah exists. That's why all of this is happening. You are mystifying people. You're confounding. You're trying to confuse your audience. It's a grift. And when he's brought up with a very good point by Jake Shields, without Hezbollah, they would have no defense. He says, yeah, that's a fair concern. No, it's not a fair concern. It's the only concern. It's just the truth of the matter. He said that's why a safer solution is merging Hezbollah and the country's military. Yeah, but the country's military is occupied by Zionists, Israeli collaborators. That's the problem. That's why Hezbollah exists. That's why Hamas exists. That's because the PLO was co-opted, astroturfed by the Israeli state, just like it's been with the Lebanese government and the Lebanese military. So it just shows you that the guy's still cooking. Power to the oh wait, hey, thank you for the supers, by the way. Basset Hound, I appreciate that. My picture of Laura Loomer and the son of Rabbi Buttplug thought I would never stop throwing up. It's look, if I have to see it, I'm going to subject you to it as well. Okay, I'm sorry. Nobody is safe here. You almost fell out of your fine chair. I guess that's a reference to Randy Fine. Power to the People says this guy is a hero. He says, as a Jew, I'd say there's nothing hard about being Jewish right now. Palestinians are being genocided. Lebanese are being... Oh, I'll just play the clip.
This thing about being Jewish.
As a Jew, I would say there is nothing hard about being Jewish right now.
His shirt says, Israel is a garbage country that's only loved by garbage people. It was founded on ethnic cleansing, apartheid, and settler colonialism. Its flag is a something systemic white supremacist something.
Right now, Palestinian people are being genocided. Lebanese people are being genocided. Iranian people are being bombed by a genocidal entity called Israel. And for any Jew to sort of like make this about themselves, I think just sounds really like
narcissism,
wildly out of touch at worst. My life is really good, I'm afraid. Like I live in a wonderful city. I have a great child. Things are going really well for on my end, you know what I mean? And the idea that like Jews have it tough right now, we as Jews really have to push back against any sort of indulgence of that kind of thing. Manufacturers consent for more Israeli bombings, and we need to name it and stop it by any means necessary.
What's your name?
My name's Max. What's your name?
Omar. My name's Omar.
So nice to meet you, Omar.
Very nice to meet you, Max.
So there is one. There's hope. Just in, China urges its citizens to leave Iran as soon as possible. A similar warning was issued one day before the start of the war on February 27th. So looks like major escalations are taking place. IDF soldiers have filmed themselves looting Lebanese villages and posted the videos online. What's new? Motorcycles, televisions, paintings, sofas, rugs are being loaded into military vehicles in broad daylight while commanders stand by and do nothing. One soldier said it's on a crazy scale. Anyone who takes something immediately puts it in their vehicle. It's not hidden. Everyone sees it and understands. Over 50 villages in southern Lebanon are now under Israeli military control as part of the Yellow Line, with more than 1 million civilians displaced. The looting is systemic. The videos are public, and consequences are non-existent. Look at this. They're looting the cash register, these shameless ghouls. That's because Israel doesn't have an army. They have a terrorist militia. This goes back to the precursors of the IDF. You know, all three of them were terrorist militias. The Haganah, the Lehigh, and what was the other one? The Irgun. They've been doing this since the 40s, y'all. Yeah, I think the Stern Gang is the slang term for Lehigh. I think it's the same thing. Oh my God, Glenn Beck has an opinion, everyone. Stop everything that you're doing. 2 teenage girls in Houston, Texas plan to ram a car into a synagogue and unalive as many J's as possible, end quote. Thank God they were stopped, but this is a warning sign. When the nurturing class becomes the K class, society is lost. When the end justifies the means, civilization implodes. What does he mean by the nurturing class? I love when these ghouls want to bring up class distinctions. It's very revealing. Who's the nurturing class? Would it be the producer class? So when the producers of the economy, the ones who actually nurture the rest of the people in the society and furnish them with bountiful commodities that they consume to keep themselves alive, when they become the instigator of string music, violin playing, that's when the upheaval happens, obviously, and society is lost. Because it should always be a top-down hierarchy, of course. The ruling class must always rule with an iron fist, with their monopoly on violence. And that's the arc of violence. That's the trajectory. That's the way it should go. It should be top down. Anything bottom up, not to be tolerated. That's when civilization implodes, according to Glenn Beck.
I'll have more on this because this is a new story and we don't have all the details yet. But
yeah, this is a new story, a new false flag. We don't really know, but we are satiated by this story. So let's just dive on in. Who knows if it's true, but I'm definitely going to make a segment about it.
Houston, two teenage girls were charged with plotting to ram a synagogue and kill as many Jews as possible. That's a quote from them.
I mean, were the girls Jewish? Because on the face of it, this already sounds pretty Jewish.
Now, thank God they were stopped. And let's see what
yeah, thank God. Because can you imagine, Thugbone, what might have happened if they, God forbid, rammed a car? Couldn't they have just asked Netanyahu to do what he does? He loves to destroy synagogues, so long as they're in other countries besides Israel.
the court's going to do to these two girls. But let me just point this out. A society, a culture is lost when the nurturing class becomes the killer class.
What does that mean, Glenn Beck?
Understand that. Guys, they are violent by nature. They are the
So nurturing class, he just means women, girls. They're the nurturing class? Or does he mean the nurturing sex, the nurturing gender? What does this have to do with class? These are personal characteristics. Class denotes socioeconomic status, you dingleberry.
protectors. Women are the nurturers. When women become a killer class, your culture is over.
So this false flag sting involving two teenage girls and their plans to ram a car through a synagogue, now it's a class issue because of this story.
But again, why? Why are they becoming a killer culture? Because
they always pearl clutch at the most imaginary and inconsequential, irrelevant problems in our society. And you got to wonder why.
the ends justify the means. At UC Berkeley this week, students erupted in applause for a failed Palestine suicide bomber who spoke at Political Prisoners Day.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, let's airstrike the school then. That's satire, YouTube. That's satire.
He was trying to kill himself. He failed, and they brought him on to speak, and they held him up as a hero.
Oh, my God. All those campus proxies, those Iranian sleeper cells instigating our children in our universities. This is really becoming a pervasive problem.
And at the same time, the New York Times this week gave airtime to voices claiming shoplifting is a valid form of political protest.
Again, when the Epstein class commits highway robbery against the working class using grifting institutions like the stock market and Congress and corporate lobbying, that's not theft. Wage theft is not theft, even though it's the largest form of theft. Any form of theft in this country, or really anywhere in the world, is wage theft. That's the biggest form of theft. But, you know, individual consumers shoplifting, according to Glenn Beck, that's obviously just the worst kind of human activity.
Just said, ends justify the means. That leads to theft, to lies, to murder. You've just seen it this week. And this isn't disconnected madness. This is what happens when a society lets grievance culture rewrite morality.
Grievance culture. Grievance culture. It's the victim blaming. It's victim shaming. It's telling the working class, be okay with the breadcrumbs we give you. If you are destitute, if you're not living a thriving life, if you're living paycheck to paycheck and precariously, you know, going through life, that's your fault. That's your problem.
Because you've been wronged, you can do this. That's all of the 7 deadly sins, all wrapped up into that. Okay? Harm becomes negotiable when you can base it on who's doing it.
Yes. Who's doing it? Who's doing most of the violence in this society? Is it shoplifters, chat? Or is it the most powerful, consequential people on earth, which form a class unto themselves, by the way? But Glenn Beck is obviously he's a mouthpiece for those people, that class. So every concept that he delivers to his audience is biased and used as a weapon, a rhetorical weapon, but a weapon nonetheless.
Good and evil get flipped. And who pays the price? Your children's future.
I think children's future.
Civilization collapses.
So these people have all the power in the world. The people that he represents have all the power in the world, and they're telling us that civilization is collapsing. It's imploding. Well, you have to wonder, who's at fault here? Is it marginalized members of society that are individuals and who are not organized, who are simply just retail investors or consumers in the economy? Are they the problem? Are they the consequential people that are largely responsible for the violence in the world? Glenn Beck hates you. My thoughts and prayers to prostate cancer in Netanyahu's butt, by the way, says Adam. Yeah, he does hate himself. He even said, I'm not sure why I was born, but I think it has something to do with Israel. He literally said that. He lives to serve Israel.